Hello and welcome to the KBB Review podcast. I'm Matt Baker and this is another special edition of the podcast all about the KBB Review Retail and Design Awards. This episode, as always, is sponsored by Sonas Bathrooms, so we thank you for their support. And if you want to find out more about Sonas Bathrooms, go to sonasbathrooms.com and I'll make sure that link is in the episode show notes. In today's episode, we are at the Judging Days. And now this is for the design categories where the judges meet the designers and chat through the designs, and we end up crowning a winner, which obviously will be announced at the awards in March. And as you can hear, I'm out and about because I'm on my way now to the bathroom Judging Days. But before you catch up with me, let's head over to the Kitchen Designers Judging Day with KBB Review's George Dean, who's caught up with the judges and is going to have a little chat about how they found the finalists, meeting them in person.
Here with Dan Strong, Sophia Boone-Strand, Graham Robinson and Hayley Robson. So just to start, all four of you, what did you think of the standard of entries this year?
I think the standard of entry was excellent. There were loads of different styles, but they were all executed really lovely. So we had a difficult choices to make.
Yeah, it came down to some very fine points between some of them, didn't it?
Yes, absolutely. We've had a lot of debates in all the categories of who is a worthy winner.
And obviously, Graham and Hayley, you've been judges before. This is definitely not your first time doing this. What do you think is different this year maybe about other years?
Interesting to see different styles of kitchens coming through, which is quite inspiring. Lots of mixes of styles and interesting materials, I would say.
What's coming through recently is the story behind. There's more of the story behind the design, so we feel like we're really getting to know not only the designer that's designed it, but the end client that the kitchen was for.
Yeah, and it's funny, isn't it? Because a lot of the ones that made it to this stage in the finals, when you actually get to talk to them, there is this whole narrative behind them and, you know, these twists and turns that the designers can tell you about that I don't think we've necessarily had in other years. So that we're getting these really strange kitchens that are really elevated and high level that, like you said, have all these stories behind them now, don't they?
Yes, another level of the design, which I think is why having the discussions with the designers is a real key part in choosing the final.
Yeah, because I feel like they all look lovely on paper, don't they? But getting to actually talk to them, it unlocks this other layer of insight into the design that you don't necessarily get. And I mean, I'm not a judge, but some of the ones that I've seen, I go, oh, that's going to be the clear winner. And then you hear someone's story about their kitchen and you go, oh, they've solved this amazing challenge that I just didn't even know that you had. And then it totally changes the game, doesn't it?
It adds a completely different angle to things, and actually I think it gives a better, broader picture of the whole project. So it's nice to be the other side of the fence and not so nervous waiting to give a presentation to 5 people that you think are stalwarts in the industry, and being this side, actually it's a nice feeling to be the other side of the fence.
Because I was going to say, you won one of these categories last year, didn't you? So it's really strange for you, I suppose, to come from, like you said, one side of the fence, and now you're in the hot seat deciding who wins this year.
Absolutely, and it's still been pretty hard to choose a winner because the categories are just so highly represented, and there's some amazing projects out there, really are.
Sophia, obviously you're very well known in the industry as well, and you've got a wealth of design experience. Was this the sort of process you expected? Was it perhaps more rigorous than you thought, or a bit more casual?
It's been very interesting and very inspiring, and what I really enjoyed was to have all the discussions between the judges. All of us had different points. We took different points from the presentations, and to have that discussion and trying to come to a joint conclusion has been quite difficult.
Would you guys say this year's, not necessarily the winners, but across the board, all the finalists we've looked at, would you say they're necessarily the kitchens that you would have expected? Because obviously you've all seen all the entries that have come in. Were you surprised by any that ended up maybe on this final shortlist?
I think once you understand the story and the process behind the design, it becomes a lot more apparent why we've selected the winners we have, rather than it's not a beauty contest and which would we like or which looks great in a magazine. It's really about the design and the execution.
It's really hard not to let it be a photography competition, isn't it?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, you have to look at the design behind it and the functionality and the problems they've solved. Also, of course, it must look amazing, but that's a given. But everything that's going on behind it is so important.
And then just before we wrap up, obviously we have the KBB Review Awards 2026 in just a couple of months now, and that day is getting closer and closer by the minute. After your experiences being a judge this year, what's your advice to people maybe looking ahead another 12 months and thinking, I'm going to make sure I enter definitely for 2027?
I would say the most important thing if you're going to enter is give as much key information as possible. We need not just a very simple brief. It's good to to understand the client's requirements, who the client is, but give as much narrative as you possibly can, because it helps build that picture and give you that full circular of exactly how that design has come to fruition.
And I would also say be truthful to the budget and make sure that everything is included in the budget, so it's actually properly within the category.
Definitely.
But definitely enter, because you can't win if you don't enter.
Absolutely.
And it's not as scary as you may think to do the presentation.
I also think, as judges, we want to understand the design. We don't need a fluffy story or jargon. We want to really hear about why you've designed it as it is,
and let it come from your heart.
Yeah.
Really explain what you did, and I would say do it like more of as a points rather than lots of words. We know what a Kuka tap does.
Yeah, you all know kitchens, yeah.
So we just need to know like the things that we don't know.
It's the key things that you think are going to make it a winner, essentially, and make those really visible rather than wrapped up in a big story.
And you're not a scary group of people either, are you? You know, all you want to do is understand. Yeah, well, you are, obviously.
We are all lovely.
It's really good, though, how much debate there was over the actual winners, because I think that is proof of a really, the good entries.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is when you comes down to a lot of debate about who's actually going to...
And also, look, before it's got to this stage, we've debated, when we've shortlisted, we've debated in our own minds over a number of days to get to that shortlist. There's lots of thought that's gone in before we've even got to this day.
Okay, and then the only other thing I've got left to ask is, obviously you all know who the winners are now, but the people listening to this don't know that. Do you think they'll be surprised by who you've picked, or do you think you've got obvious winners?
Everybody's got different taste, and I think the issue is that the majority of people are just going to look at images, so they're going to be thinking aesthetically rather than having the full information that we had. So they're welcome to their opinions, but I think we've done the right job as a collective because we've been fully armed with all the information.
Yeah.
The judges' vote is final, I suppose, isn't it? So
Absolutely.
good.
Judge and jury tried.
That's the tagline for next year. We're going to put everyone on trial.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you all for joining me today, and I'll see you in Birmingham in March.
Look forward to having you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, George, and thank you to the judges there. Now, I'm just about to walk into the Rocker Gallery in Chelsea, which is where our bathroom judging is taking place this year. Now, I'm about to catch up with judges Elspeth Pridham from The Insider and Stoneman Crone's Shane Fraser, and we're going to get under the skin of how they found today's finalists. Yes, I'm here at the Bathroom Design Judging Day. It's been an interesting day. It's very tired judges in front of me.
Hi, I'm Elspeth Pridham and I write the interior design blog, The Insider.
And I'm Shane Fraser from Stone and Chrome in Camberley.
Excellent. So obviously we've had the judging first phase, and this is the second phase where we've been put in front of the people. How does it change from what you read on the submission to when they're literally talking about their projects?
Oh, it's a completely different thing, because obviously you can read, and we all do, we read through, well, hundreds of entries, but when you see the designers face to face and they can really spell out exactly what they've done, and we can ask questions to really drill down, and sometimes the details and the attention to detail really become apparent that we didn't necessarily pick out when we read through the entries originally.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, I came in with people in mind from the initial applications. I remember some of the other entries that I went through, and there were many, and you kind of look at them and you don't see the full story, and then you really do see a completely different side to it when you're speaking to the person. They're going into a different level of detail that you don't necessarily get from just reading.
Yeah, it's great to see that passion. What themes have come out of today? Is there any sort of thing that you've seen, sort of design elements, things that you think, this kept cropping up?
One of the things I was quite intrigued by was wellness and the consideration of how the bathroom can really play in and feed into that. And I was quite impressed with the entrants who had asked questions of their customers and, whether they had particular ailments. We had a couple of people who had back problems or people who wanted to meditate, and how the bathroom could be designed to absolutely accommodate that. And I thought that was a very interesting aspect.
And Shane, what did you see?
In general, I feel that there's a lot more towards the classic bathroom. I mean, a few years ago, I think it was very rare to see like a more classic or traditional bathroom get through to the finals. But I feel like generally most of what we've seen today has been more traditional furniture, handmade and all that kind of stuff. I mean, colour's been around for a very long time, but people are pushing it as we've seen today with wallpapered ceilings and just the general tile choices as well. Like, people are really pushing the boundaries there.
We've really seen far more interior design going into the bathroom. So obviously these need to be functional spaces, but we've seen painted ceilings, wallpapered ceilings, 3 tiers of lighting, bespoke furniture, the introduction of antiques. And I love that, to create really individual spaces. And you mentioned earlier, Matt, as well, it's the enthusiasm of some of these designers, that they're not going to give you just a off-the-peg design. They're going to create something very specific for you. And I feel very excited, actually, that I think the level of design at every price level is really upped again this year. It's been really quite a pleasure.
And I think we are going in at every level of detail now. Like, we're looking at hinges on doors, the door handles, window fittings, light switches, and these designers are like owning the whole project, looking at every detail as they should, and pulling it all together to create a beautiful space.
Well, that's it. You did it. You did the judging. We have got our winners, so they will be announced at the final event during KBB Birmingham on the Monday, the 2nd of March. So you guys are going to be there, obviously. Thank you for all your hard work, and I think that's it now. So well done. Thank you. And we'll see you at KBB.
Thanks, Matt. And I'd just like to add, we have had some quite fiery debates today, because it's been quite hard, because it's been such a high level of competition. And I think it just shows once again that, a lot of thought is put into these awards, and, we're all very happy to spend a day, fighting over it.
And it really has. If you could see what we've been through today, and it's been non-stop from when we started about 10 o'clock all the way up until now at 5 o'clock. We really do go for it and pick the best results.
But let's go for that well-deserved treat. Thank you so much. Cheers. And that's it for today's episode. A massive thank you again to Sonas Bathrooms for their continued support in sponsoring this episode, and to you guys, to the listeners. If you haven't bought tickets for the awards yet, then it's still available. You can go to kbbreview.com/awards to find out more information, and we'll see you in March.